Things just got wild with 6ix9ine's girlfriend's murder. Right after she was killed, reports claim 6ix9ine was already with another woman. And honestly, it's not surprising. This is the same guy accused of cheating on his baby mama and mistreating her.
I've been very early on in our relationship, like maybe a month after I moved in with him. That was the first time he put his hands on me, and I didn't know how to take that.
But this cold betrayal has fans convinced 6ix9ine knows way more about the murder than he's letting on. Let's break it down. The betrayal that shocked the world. He didn't even wait. That's the part that has left fans across the world in shock and disbelief. Tekashi 69, known for controversy, trolling and betrayal, has once again managed to cross a line that most of us never thought anyone could cross. Just hours after the tragic death of Ariella Langosta, a woman who wasn't just his rumored partner, but his supposed ride or die, the man with rainbow hair was already being linked to someone else. That's right. Before her body was even laid to rest, 6ix9ine had already been spotted cozying up with another woman. It's the kind of move that doesn't just spark gossip, it ignites outrage. Because this isn't just about messy celebrity relationships. This is about loyalty. This is about grief. This is about the disrespect of a woman's memory gone too soon, only to be followed by a betrayal so cold it feels almost inhuman. And the truth is, this is the real 6ix9ine. A man who thrives in chaos, who uses controversy as currency, and who doesn't hesitate to trample on the very people who once held him down. First, let's revisit the tragedy that started it all.
A lot of people, you know what I'm saying, they're not 6ix9ine fans. But something tragic happened yesterday night involving his girlfriend. She was killed.
The 33-year-old influencer, a mother and model with nearly 700,000 followers, was found dead inside her vehicle, shot and left on a busy road just north of the Bronx. Police immediately suspected she was targeted. No arrests, no answers, just devastation. Ariella wasn't just another Instagram model. She was a businesswoman, a devoted mother, and someone who had built her following through authentic content about her life, her struggles, and her journey as a single parent. Her followers genuinely connected with her because she was real in a world full of fake. She posted about her daily life, her challenges with co-parenting, her business ventures, and yes, her complicated relationship with a controversial rapper who would later exploit her death for clout. What makes this story even more heartbreaking is that Ariella had been trying to build a stable life for herself and her children. According to friends, she had been working on launching her own fashion line and had secured several lucrative brand partnerships. She was planning for the future, building something lasting beyond social media fame. The last thing she needed was to be dragged deeper into 6ix9ine's world of chaos and controversy. And the response, Tekashi, of course, went online to play the grieving partner. He posted Instagram stories referring to Ariella as my wife and a tremendous woman. He wrote, "You supported me in everything. New York won't ever be the same. I loved you." Touching words, right? The kind of thing that might convince the casual fan that Tekashi had lost someone truly close to him. But here's what those emotional posts didn't reveal. According to multiple sources, Ariella had been trying to distance herself from 6ix9ine's chaotic lifestyle in the weeks before her death. Friends say she was exhausted by the constant drama, the security concerns, and the way his controversies kept pulling her into dangerous situations. Text messages that have since surfaced show Ariella expressing frus.
I always knew you were a rad-ass nigga because you always knew the right thing to say, laughing my ass off. Nah, I'm just playing. Happy Valentine's Day, babe.
That statement right there tells you everything about Tekashi's mindset. For him, being number one has always outweighed being loyal, being decent, or being human. And when Ariella died, the choice between grief and self-interest wasn't even a choice. It was a reflex. He went straight to the playbook he's always used. Post something emotional for sympathy, then move on quickly so you don't lose momentum. The timeline of events is particularly damning. On the day of Ariella's death, 6ix9ine posted his emotional tribute at approximately 2:47 p.m. By 11:30 that same evening, eyewitnesses report seeing him at a Manhattan nightclub, surrounded by an entourage and appearing anything but grief-stricken. Security footage from the venue allegedly shows him laughing, drinking, and engaging with multiple women throughout the night. Betrayal started almost immediately. Multiple witnesses claim that just a day after Ariella's death, 6ix9ine was spotted at a nightclub laughing, drinking, and surrounded by women. Photos circulated showing him embracing another woman, whispering into her ear, his hand resting a little too comfortably on her waist. This wasn't a man processing grief. This was a man who couldn't even wait for the news cycle to move on before he did. But it gets worse. According to industry insiders, 6ix9ine's team had already begun reaching out to gossip blogs and entertainment outlets within 24 hours of Ariella's death, seemingly to control the narrative around their relationship. They wanted to ensure that the story portrayed him as a devoted partner rather than the distant, problematic boyfriend that sources say he actually was. The fact that he openly admitted his girlfriend hated his fame, yet continued to expose her to it, shows a pattern of selfishness that would later manifest in how he handled Ariella's death. What's particularly chilling is how he seemed to view Ariella's murder not as a personal tragedy, but as a publicity opportunity. While her family was Dima.
I snitched, and I did it proudly, right? But everybody who snitches, everybody should be held accountable. Because you can't single someone out. Just like you couldn't single out XXXTentacion, you gotta single out.
The most disturbing part of this whole saga is how 6ix9ine managed to make Ariella's death about him. Her murder should have been about seeking justice, about honoring her memory, about supporting her family. Instead, it became another chapter in the 6ix9ine controversy machine. Her death was reduced to a plot point in his ongoing reality show. Her memory commodified for social media engagement. The pattern of betrayal. To really understand why fans are so furious with 6ix9ine's betrayal of Ariella, you have to look at his track record. Because this isn't some one-time slip-up, this is a man whose entire career has been built on betraying the people closest to him. Think about it. 6ix9ine didn't rise to fame on talent alone. He rose to fame on loyalty and then on breaking that loyalty. When Trippie gave him a platform, when they put him on stages and backed him up with muscle, he turned around and became the government's star witness. When his baby mother Sarah Molina stuck by him through his early days of struggle, he embarrassed her on Instagram Live and humiliated her publicly by flaunting side relationships. When industry peers gave him cosigns, he repaid them by starting beefs for click. The pattern is so consistent, it's almost like a textbook. 6ix9ine identifies people who can help him, uses their loyalty and resources to advance his career, then publicly betrays them when it becomes advantageous to do so. It's not just business, it's personal destruction used as entertainment. Let's talk about Sarah Molina for a moment. This is the mother of his child. A woman who stood by him when he was nobody, who supported his dreams when he was just another kid from Brooklyn trying to make it. How did he repay that loyalty? By cheating on her repeatedly, flaunting other women on social media, and eventually abandoning both her and their daughter when his career took off. Sarah has spoken openly about the emotional abuse she endured, the way 6ix9ine would use their even darker. Some fans believe 6ix9ine's behavior after Ariella's death wasn't just insensitive. It was a deliberate attempt to distract from unanswered questions about her murder. Because let's be honest, the circumstances surrounding Ariella's death are suspicious. A targeted shooting, no suspects, no arrest. And yet Tekashi, who had romantic ties to her, who knew her closely, seemed more interested in clubbing than seeking justice. The murder itself raises serious questions that 6ix9ine seems desperate to avoid addressing. Ariella was killed in execution style in her car, suggesting this wasn't a random act of violence. Given 6ix9ine's history with gang affiliations and ongoing feuds, many wonder if her association with him made her a target. Instead of cooperating fully with investigators or using his platform to demand justice, he turned her death into a sympathy play and then quickly moved on to his next controversy. What's particularly chilling is how quickly he shifted from mourning widower to party animal. Within 48 hours of posting his emotional tribute, he was already back to his old antics, club appearances, new female companions, social media posts that seemed designed to generate controversy rather than honor Ariella's memory. It was as if her death was just another plot point in the ongoing 6ix9ine reality show. Industry insiders revealed that 6ix9ine's team had been planning his comeback strategy. Even while he was publicly mourning, they saw Ariella's death as a way to generate sympathy and reset his public image after months of declining relevance. The grief posts weren't genuine expressions of loss. They were calculated PR moves designed to make him appear more human and sympathetic. The fans who once defended him are now seeing the real cost of supporting someone who treats human connection as disposable. Screenshots began circulating of him at various venues, looking anything but grief-stricken. In one particularly damning photo, he's seen laughing at what appears to be a private party, his arm around a woman who clearly isn't Ariella, taken just days after her funeral. But the betrayal goes deeper than just moving on quickly. Sources revealed that 6ix9ine had been actively pursuing other women, even while posting his tributes to Ariella. Phone records allegedly show him texting multiple women within hours of announcing her death, using lines about needing comfort and someone to lean on during his time of grief. It's manipulation at its most cynical, using a woman's murder as a pickup line. The woman he was spotted with first has since come forward anonymously, revealing disturbing details about their encounter. According to her account, 6ix9ine never mentioned being in mourning or having just lost someone close to him. Instead, he was his usual boastful self, talking about his music, his money, and his plans for returning to the spotlight. When she later discovered the timeline and realized she had been with him just hours after Ariella's death, she felt sick to her stomach. Even more damning is how 6ix9ine's social media behavior changed after the initial sympathy posts. Instead of maintaining a respectful silence or focusing on Ariella's memory, he began posting increasingly outrageous content designed to stir up controversy. He seemed to be testing how much he could get away with before people stopped feeling sorry for him and started calling him out. This clip perfectly encapsulates 6ix9ine's approach to relationships and public perception. He doesn't believe in nuance, in genuine human connection, or in treating people with basic respect. For him, everyone is either a fan to be exploited or an enemy to be destroyed. Ariella, unfortunately, found herself in the worst possible position, a casualty who was first exploited for sympathy, then discarded for convenience. The pattern becomes even clearer when you look at how he's treated other women throughout his career. Every relationship becomes content. Every breakup becomes drama. Every personal moment becomes a public spectacle. But using someone's death as a launching pad for your next controversy, that's a new low, even for 6ix9ine. What makes this particularly infuriating for fans is how calculated it all appears. This wasn't a grief-stricken man making poor decisions in his darkest hour. This was a strategic operator who saw an opportunity and seized it without a moment's hesitation. The Instagram posts, the club appearances, the new relationships, it was all orchestrated to maximize attention while minimizing accountability. The cold truth behind the rainbow hair. The truth is, this is the real 6ix9ine. A man who thrives in chaos, who uses controversy as currency, and who doesn't hesitate to trample on the very people who once held him down. What we've uncovered isn't just another TMZ-style story. This pulls you deep into the darkest corner of 6ix9ine's world with receipts, actual footage, and testimonials that prove beyond a doubt that the betrayal wasn't just an accident. It was a calculated move, a pattern of behavior that has haunted his entire career. The most disturbing part isn't just that he moved on quickly, it's how he moved on. Sources close to the situation revealed that 6ix9ine was already orchestrating his next publicity moves while publicly grieving. Text messages and social media activities show him actively reaching out to influencers and party promoters, setting up appearances that would put him back in the spotlight. This wasn't spontaneous grief behavior. This was strategic career management. Let's examine the timeline more closely because the details are absolutely damaging. On the day Ariella was murdered, 6ix9ine posted his emotional tribute at 2:47 p.m. By 4:15 p.m, he was already texting his manager about next moves and discussing how.
Imagine I would have stood tall, right? Kept it real, did the 47 years right now. Right?
Well, you wouldn't be on the podcast, that's for sure.
And when it came to Ariella, he showed us all which side of the line he really stood on. The betrayal of Ariella's memory wasn't just about infidelity. It was about clout. It was about leveraging her memory to keep himself at the center of attention. The so-called morning posts he made were nothing but performance. We're talking about a man who thrives on trolling, who has weaponized every personal relationship for content. What's even more shocking is how he's used this pattern before. Remember, this is the same man who once proudly admitted that his then-girlfriend hated his newfound fame. Yet, he continued exploiting their relationship for social media content. The women who loved him, the ones who knew him as Danny, not Takashi, consistently became casualties of his relentless pursuit of relevance. The psychological profile that emerges from all of this is deeply troubling. 6ix9ine appears to be someone who is fundamentally incapable of genuine human connection. Every relationship is transactional. Every emotion is performed. Every tragedy is an opportunity. The fact that he could lose someone he claimed to love and immediately begin calculating how to exploit that loss reveals a level of narcissism that borders on sociopathic. Mental health professionals who have observed his behavior patterns note several concerning traits. His inability to maintain long-term relationships, his tendency to exploit personal tragedies for public gain, his complete lack of empathy for those he harms. These aren't just character flaws. They're red flags that suggest deeper psychological issues. But perhaps the most damning evidence comes from his own behavior timeline. While Ariella's family was planning her funeral, 6ix9ine was already back to his usual antics. Post became louder, more outrageous, almost as if he was deliberately using the controversy surrounding her death to fuel his return to the spotlight. This isn't grief. This is exploitation at its most cynical level. The evidence.